So we started with types of products. In that, we understood very clearly that we will be having a product classification based upon the durability and intangibility. And the second point also we have covered as about a product classification based on consumer goods. Yes. So here, what we understood in the product classification with the duration and intangibility thought process. Yes, completely. We do have tangible, intangible, durable, non-durable, and pure services. Everything is going to get collated together. Probably, we need to understand branding is so important and creating the characteristics for each one of the brand, each one of the tangible, intangible, durable, non-durable, and pure services. Yes, we need to brand it clearly based upon that classification. That's the point what we understood, correct? And also we have covered majorly 2 points under the product classification consumer goods. One is about the convenience and second one is shopping. We have covered it already. Into the convenience goods. Yes, we do make use of all these goods on a regular basis, and ultimately people they are trying to think about having a brand name even for our regular goods frequently what we are using, because ultimately that is going to showcase its own planning, unplanning, a number of thought process, because people when they are going to buy something, ultimately the question is so simple, whether we need to buy it with the labeled with any of the brand one or not for the recognition purpose. Okay, so is that frequently going on in the market to have those kind of branded one? May not be, correct? So why can't we have those branded even for the convenient goods? That was one of the questions what we have raised in the previous session. And also shopping goods we have covered as like homogeneous and heterogeneous. Okay, so the shopping goods, you can go for having one particular shopping complex where you can go for setting those homogeneous goods as such like probably a refrigerator, in the sense all the electronic items can be associated for that, correct? So heterogeneous in the sense where you can go for thinking about multiple amount of heterogeneous segment as like furnitures, probably you can go for even appliances, so you can go for making collate of all the segmented kind of products. That is the topic what we have discussed. And today's topic is about specialty goods. So how does this specialty goods comes into the category of this product classification, and why do we need to focus on all these? Yeah, first thing is about see unsought goods in the sense where we are not going to make use of these goods regularly, maybe once in a year, maybe yes, if it is possible, once, twice, thrice, or 4 times in a year, yes, we may go for. But beyond that, may not be. Maybe I can go for taking a simple example as such like unsought goods like insurance. Yes, maybe we are going to start thinking as such like insurance is one of the example. 100% sure whether it is a new unsought or else regularly unsought. It is regularly unsought because since many years insurance premiums we people are paying, correct? So for two-wheeler vehicle insurance, once in a year we are going to take that two-wheeler vehicle insurance. 100% sure for that insurance outlet, we never rush up until unless that renewal comes, that renewal date comes. Correct? That's how the thing is going to takes place. Correct? But in spite of that, also those insurances are going to be there in branding, because the recognition is so important to occupy the marketplace, correct? And new unsought goods and regularly unsought goods. So what is this new unsought goods are all? The unusual goods which are going to be very rarely going to take place in our life. As such, like probably it's about a long journey towards any of the particular trips, as like North India trips for the South Indians. So probably they may go for frequently once in 5 years, 10 years, not exactly on a monthly basis, or also maybe in a year, a span of one time also is never to be get happen. Correct? Because they would like to visit many of the places into one time. So how does it looks as such like the packages, correct? So it is going to be considered as such like a regularly unsought goods. But we do have many of the unsought, newly unsought goods, where probably we had many of the new unsought goods, but nowadays it has become regular. As such like maybe I can go for quoting once again with respect to that insurance. It was as such like a new unsought goods few years before, where medical insurance or also agricultural crop insurance. So many of us were aware of, correct? Health insurance and probably with respect to the amount of our life insurance, yes, maybe it has been available since almost like 5 decades or 6 decades. But here, with respect to the amount of agricultural insurance, maybe about the crop insurance, then the land insurance, so many more kind of. Yes, those are all new, unsolved. Probably that has to come with a different dimension, with different shape. Then only it can be able to identify into the market. That's the reality associated. Correct. So even with respect to the amount of newly unsought goods, I can go for taking another example. As such, like probably you're trying to come up with your own investment idea where that should be one of the public sector undertaking. Okay. So, can we go for having a public sector undertaking from the middle scale enterprises? Probably that is one of the newly unsought goods where people they started calling that as a network marketing. That is one of the huge game nowadays. Okay, network marketing. So people they would like to invest for a few amount of money as like 10,000, 15,000. They would like to invest and they are going to buy that kit of products and they want to sell it off to their neighbors or else friends and somehow they are going to make the profit. But is it the game applicable every time? May not be because everyone are not so equally comfortable with that mind style. Correct? As such, like, why do I need to buy by investing into those kind of companies, and why do I need to sell it off for earning that small amount of margin? Correct? These are the kind of questions. But when Amway has introduced that, these people they started getting curious into those kind of newly unsought goods. Okay, but still it is there in the market, that newly unsought goods. Okay, so maybe I can go for taking a simple consideration here. Maybe I know you people are going to visit any kind of mart or else any of the organized store. You can go for getting those kind of bonus cards. That bonus points can be converted as like a discount. Okay, how frequently you are making use of? Maybe I can go for naming it one more example as such like Google Pay. When you want to make the payment, you're going to get a certain amount of cash back. Okay, so share it with your friends. That option is available. Maybe you people have seen that. Correct? So those are all newly unsought goods where people they are trying to come up with that ideology in the marketing stream. But with respect to the consumer's viewpoint, yes, of course, still it is there in the hide and seek game, unsought or unusual. Okay. Next, we are discussing with the same continuation points, industrial goods. So, how does this particular industrial goods classification is going to work out for us? First thing, the components are so simple. One, it is about capital. Second one, it is about component parts and materials. Third one is about new raw materials, and the last one is about suppliers. Okay, so here we are dividing, or we are classifying the industrial goods also. See, the capital items were installation of those equipments one time, but still you need to have a good amount of rapport with your clients so that you can go for having a good amount of network chain of a best amount of market, and the best amount of customer relationship is possible. Correct? Even about the component parts. Sir, component parts and materials, is that going to be useful for every one of the individual producer, manufacturer, and even about the client segment? Is it so possible? That's a kind of question. Normally, it is not so easy. Okay, because component parts and materials, it is completely B2B segment. So still, you would like to differentiate, you would like to classify that, because frequently we are going to make use of those kind of component parts in our industries. Normally, we are going to make use of. Okay, it is not as regularly as it's like the raw material, but 100% sure when you're going to run the machine frequently, so maybe those bare balls, or else maybe that chain, or else maybe those rings, so everything may need to be replaced. The complete machine need not to be replaced, but with those component parts need to be replaced. Correct? So even about the raw materials, the farm products, or else the nature of materials, so it is completely associated with respect to the amount of how frequently we are going to make use of the products, and how efficiently we are going to market this, brand this separately. Okay, and even about the supplies of your finished goods. So when it comes to this industrial goods classification, 100% sure you can go for having the more and more amount of profit with those capital items, and a medium kind of profit range with respect to these component parts and raw materials, and lower amount of range with respect to this supplies. But in case if you're going to start having a branding for all these things, probably you can set a margin separately in the market, and you can go for achieving greater amount of success into the market. Right, so with this note, we people could able to complete the types of products completely. Thanks to everyone.